Okay, okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our call for tonight. If you can hear me, please put the letter Y in the question box. Then I'll know you can hear me. Thank you, Craig. And what we're going to do is we're going to get started right away. I like to get you out of here during the weeknights fairly quickly. I don't like to keep you any longer than 30, maybe 35. I might have to go a little longer than 30 minutes tonight. We are recording, but my goal is always to get you out of here right around 30 minutes. If I have to go over a little bit to explain this, then we just will. And so tonight we're going to be talking about prompt engineering. This is our DFY live masterclass. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the box. Once again, make sure that if you have not signed up to be an Ultimate Insider, you should, because this course would actually be 50% off the launch price. And there are quite a few other benefits that I don't want to take up your time explaining them tonight. We are going to be doing a session tomorrow night in the PLR hackathon, and I invite you to join me. So if you're watching this and you're not part of the PLR hackathon, we're going to be going through the entire process of building out your PLR product into something usable. And we're going to focus on video and audio because that's the hardest one, right? So if you understand how to do it with video and audio, pretty much you can probably do it with written text or PDF fairly easily. So you probably don't need my help for that, but we are going to be going through quite a few processes in the hackathon. So please feel free to join us, theplrshow.com/HCKTV2. So let's talk tonight about prompting effectively. So we're going to talk about prompting effectively. And this is an important section because more and more we're beginning to rely on being able to get information from an AI. And you could be getting any number of kinds of information, and you may use it the same way that you did search at one time. And some people are really using it that way. They're going to look for information and they're using it because it's conversational. And it's a very important part now of what we're doing in online business. It's probably a pretty important time to understand it in our culture. So it's not going away. It's not going to be something that's going to be a flash in the pan and then, we're just going to kind of go back to normal. AI really is the new normal. And it's one of those things that has caught on and it's going to stay. So we need to understand it as information marketers. We need to understand it as entrepreneurs. We need to understand it as solopreneurs, solo business owners. We need to understand what AI is and what it does. And the basis for that is learning how to do prompts. Prompts are the way that we get the AI to do what we want it to do. We have to talk to the machine in a way that the machine understands, and then the machine gives us back something that we can use. Typically, it's going to be text. In the very near future, it's going to be video. In the very near future, we're going to be putting in video, we're going to be putting in images, and we're going to get out the output that we want. So all of these things are going to be changing as fast as we can see them, and you want to be aware of how to undertake these principles. I want to talk about some things that you should be doing before you go purchase prompts. And I know that people for a long time, um, it really does seem that people like to purchase prompts, and a lot of people are selling prompts. And I'm not saying that they're a bad thing to do, but before you do that, before you go and you're looking to buy a prompt for some reason, there's some things that you need to be doing toward understanding how the whole prompting uh, process works. And so let's go through some of those things. The first thing that you're going to need to be going through, make sure that you go to learnprompting.org. And when you do that, go through every single thing that's there. There is quite a bit there at learnprompting.org. It is the foundation for understanding the principles we're going to be talking about tonight. It is the foundation for understanding how to approach the machine to get it to do what you want it to do. There are some things that you need to know beyond just being able to go and get information. And there's a lot of discussion about what an AI can do. Well, hey, I can write an entire book, I can write blog posts, I can write an entire course, I can write a thank you letter, I can write my resume, I can do all these great things. And you can do all those things even better once you understand how the AI works. And that's really what learnprompting.org does. There are probably other sites that do, but this is one of the best as of the recording of this session. So before you go and buy prompts, again, go to learnprompting.org. There is a section there, and there is a pretty long section of things that you just need to learn. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free, and a lot of what they place there is going to be based on research and science. And so when you understand the research and science and how it applies to what you're trying to do for your business, then you will be able to approach any prompting process. You'll be able to approach any AI and understand how it's basically going to work. Now, the other thing that you're going to do with learn prompting is that you're going to be asking the AI that when you get a principle in from learn prompting, you want to take that same principle, you want to place it inside of the AI. Let's say that you're using Chat GPT and they give you a principle like least to most prompting. You want to take that principle and you want to put that inside of the AI and you want to understand what that means in terms of what you're trying to do. So let's say that you typically go to the AI because you want information for the dog walking niche and you want to understand how to be better at the dog walking business. Well, what you're going to do when you go to learn prompting is you're going to understand the principles in learn prompting. You're going to take the principles that they give you and you're going to go and put that principle inside the AI. You're going to ask it, well, what does this mean if I were to try to use this principle in dog walking? That is exactly what you're going to do because you want to understand the fundamental principles at a level at which they make sense to you, that they make sense to how you operate in AI every single day. And there are lots of exercises there at Learn Prompting, and I'm going to suggest that you do every single one of those exercises. Don't skip any of them. And if you get to a point and you don't understand what they're trying to tell you, once again, you take the principle, you put it inside of the AI. If you're using Chat GPT, if you're using Bing AI, if you're using Google Bard, take the principle, put it inside the AI, and ask the AI to explain that principle to you in terms of what it is that you were trying to do, getting output from the AI. Now, when you go through this entire process with learn prompting, you're only going to have to do this once. Once you do that, you will understand how to operate any AI in any sector of our economy right at this moment. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be something that's coming in the future that may even be simpler, that may become more complicated. But as of right now, as of the recording of this session, everything you need to learn, I'm not saying everything you need to know is going to be there, but everything you need to learn in terms of principles is there. And once you understand those principles, you only have to do that one time. Now, in addition to that, one of the other things you're going to see there when you're going through the principles at Learn Prompting, you're going to see a lot of research. I'm going to suggest that you do take your time to go through some of the research reports. Now, you might look at them and you might say, I don't want to read research reports. I'm not a professor. I'm not an academic. None of these things make sense to me. And that would make sense if you said that. One thing that you can do in order to overcome this, and you can do this in just about any principle that you're going to be doing inside of Learn Prompting, you want to go and get a chat PDF account. There are a number of them. And if you go to your favorite search engine and you type in chat PDF, basically you're going to find a site, typically they're in beta, where you can upload a PDF. You can ask questions to the AI about the PDF you uploaded. So basically, when you upload a PDF to any of the chat PDF accounts, you are then going to be able to get an understanding at your level at whatever it is that PDF says. So this is what you want to do with the scientific research. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't even have to be a scientist to understand what they say. It used to be that if you wanted to understand what these research reports said, you kind of had to be able to read the abstract. If you read the abstract, you can understand what they said, and you might be able to discern what it actually means to you and your business. These abstracts can be complicated. So what you can do now is you can find a chat PDF account. You can upload any PDF, not just scientific report. You can upload any PDF. where the information is going to be dense, where the information is going to be difficult, it's going to be hard to understand. And you might feel like, well, I'm not necessarily at that level where I can understand this topic on this PDF in my language. You can upload to Chat PDF and you can ask questions of that PDF so that you understand it in a language you understand. I'm suggesting that you do that with as many of the research reports as you can in Learn Prompting. And again, all you're really doing is you are building a foundation of understanding how large language models work, how the AI actually works. Once you do this, again, you only have to do this one time. And you don't have to spend, an entire weekend just going to do it all in one day. That's not what I mean. I'm saying that if you start now, just start going through the exercises, you start looking at the research reports, what's going to happen depending on how you learn. And just about everybody's got a different learning style. Understand that. These things are going to start to seep in when you start to go to the AI. You're going to start to become part of the way that you approach the AI because you will understand how it works. You'll understand you're not talking to a human being. You're not talking to a person when you're typing into an AI. You're talking to a machine. A machine has rules. A machine has understandings. A machine has things that if you operate the machine correctly, it'll give you back the information that you want. And that's really what we're trying to do when we're trying to do prompting effectively. What we can do is we can ask an AI like Bing, ChatGPT, or Google Bard for prompting suggestions. This is very important. Now, again, we should be doing this before you go buying a prompting. And it's so simple. And many of us do this for different reasons. But if you don't understand how to prompt, and let's say that you go through this entire live session tonight, and you're no closer to understanding prompting than you were before you started it, here's one thing you can do. You go to the AI, whichever one you use, whatever your favorite is, whatever one that you're using right now that's giving you the results you need. You go to that AI and you ask it, well, what kind of prompts do I need in order to undertake this thing that I'm doing? So, in other words, let's say that you are writing a curriculum for dog walking. You're going to go to the AI and you're going to ask it, what prompts do I need to write in order to write a curriculum for dog walking? So, again, it's one step removed, but what you're doing is you're getting the answers to the test, so to speak. So, you don't have to struggle with trying to figure out exactly how you're going to ask the question. If you're going to be working with a particular AI, ask the AI for the right way to ask the question. And you're then going to take that information and put it inside the AI in order to get the information that you want. All of these are things that you can be doing, that you should be doing before you go and purchase prompts. Now, prompting is based on principles, and that's an important aspect of this. So when you understand the principle, you can use these principles in order to do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to go and buy niche-based prompts necessarily. What you're going to be doing is understanding how the model works. And again, it's not rocket science. When I say principles, when I say understanding how the model works, it's not rocket science. You're going to find that it's basically common sense. Principles kind of operate universally. So they're going to operate whether you're using Chat GPT, whether you're using Bing, whether you use Bard, or whatever else is coming across the pike. Once you understand the principles of prompting, you can use them in any one because you're talking to a machine at some level. All of the principles, they're going to make sense to you. And you may even be doing them already. The principles are common sense. However, you do need to have a name for them. And you want to have a name for them, and you want to have a handle on them, something that you can put there, a mental model that you can hold in your brain to understand what you're asking the AI to do. And so you do want to understand these models. One thing you do need to understand about an AI is that it can only see so much text when it's thinking about how to answer you. So in other words, if you're using Chat GPT-3 or 3.5, I think that you can only see so much text, and I think it's about 1,500 words. After that, the AI starts to forget what it is that you have in that conversation. So one of the things that you're going to need to be doing is after about 1,000 or 2,000 words, You need to keep putting the context for your conversation back in the AI. So if you ask the AI, well, how do I, how do I build a business for dog walking? And it gives you principles, and it gives you a long list. Let's say it gives you 10 principles, but you're still asking questions. You're moving through your conversation. Well, when you get to about 2,000 words, the AI will no longer base its answer based on that first 15, that first list that it gave you. You need to put that list back into the AI. So basically, you're reminding the AI where the context is. You're reminding the AI what it told you. You're reminding the AI what you told it. And you continue to do that process. So again, the answer that you're getting continues to be contextual based on what you have in front of you. So again, don't think that you can just have the AI see unlimited in the conversation. So it can go back, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 words. It doesn't work like that. So you got to make sure that when you give the AI some text, that it's actually seeing what it is that you're trying to do. Now, you can always get a good answer from an AI if you're willing to do a little bit at a time. So the wrong way to typically do an AI is you're going to just place a big block of text in there and you're going to try to get everything all at once. Typically, you're going to get a better answer if you move a little bit at a time and you ask small questions and you continue to bring that context back into the AI over and over again. So basically, when you go to an AI, you're trying to get an answer. What you want to look at a conversation at a series of questions. You want to continually ask the right questions until you get to your goal. So don't start out trying to get the entire pie. So in other words, you want a curriculum on how to be a dog walker. Well, you don't go in and say, give me a curriculum on how to be a dog walker. You walk the AI through the process. You ask all of the questions that would lead to that goal, because as you get the information, that information that you get as you go along the way is going to be of a higher caliber than if you just went and you just asked one question, you tried to get that information, you take all the information that you get from the one query. Your goal is to ask multiple questions over time. You continuously remind the AI about the broader context, as I said. So everything it tells you that's important, you want to bring that back to the context. You bring that back to the conversation. And yes, you put it back in the chat bot. You put it back in and you say, here's the answer that you gave 5 minutes ago. Again, it only has the ability to see only so far, only so far back into the conversation. One thing that you need to understand now is that the AI is even changing as we are speaking right now. It now has the ability to browse the web. Bing browses the web now, which it probably has since pretty much the very beginning. Bard now can browse the web. It browses Google search. Now, pretty soon it's going to be incorporated into Google search as a recording of this. And now ChatGPT now has a plugin for Wolfram. So ChatGPT, as a recording of this session, can also browse the web. And if you go to ChatGPT, if you've got ChatGPT Plus, and you go to your plugins or your settings section, you're going to see some beta features. You're going to turn on those beta features, and then you're going to get the Wolfram plugin so that your ChatGPT account can browse the web. Now, as a recording of this, it's only going to be part of the ChatGPT Plus accounts. So if you don't have a ChatGPT Plus account, this is not something you're going to be able to see. You're not going to see this right away. Even if they do eventually bring it out to everybody, what you're going to be doing, though, if you do have a ChatGPT Plus account, you can then go to your ChatGPT account. You can then you can then place in this plugin for Wolfram and begin to surf the web with your account. One thing that you can do to improve your level of prompting is you ask the AI to critique what you prompt. You ask the AI to critique what it gave you. Very important to understand how to do, and that you do it on a regular basis. Now, again, remember I said that most of what we're talking about is not going to be rocket science. It's all common sense. One of the ways in which you make your information more reliable is you take that information that you get in terms of output, you put it back in the chatbot, and you want the chatbot to then critique it. You don't assume that what you got is ready to use. So if you, whatever you get from the chatbot, whatever you get from Bing, whatever you get from Google, it's not necessarily ready. What you want to look at that is pretty much going to be raw material. And so you want to repost that same content that you got, you post it back into the AI, and you want to ask the AI to, hey, what makes this bad? How can I improve what it is that this information says? You can say to the AI that it's information that you got from it. You don't have to say it. It doesn't really matter. What you're going to do is you're going to get a critique of the information that you got from the AI. Every time that you do this, every time that you put that information back into the AI and you ask for improvement and you allow the AI to improve it, it's going to make a better output for you. So again, it does take work to do this. You know, the easiest thing to do, of course, is just going to be to ask for some output and to get all the output and to put it to work. However, if you want higher quality, all you've got to do is be religious about taking the output that you get, putting it back into the chatbot, asking how it can be improved, or asking if it what makes this a poor example of what I'm talking about. It will then give you the answer that you were asking for. You can then ask the AI, will this information answer this question? So again, all you're trying to do is you're trying to get the AI to give you more accurate information, not necessarily more, right? So we don't want it to pile on information. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for accurate information. And if we get information, we want to make the information that we got even more accurate if we can do it. Once you understand how to do this critique and you understand how to critique the output, here's something else you need to critique. You also critique the prompts. So let's say that you went to the AI and it gave you 10 prompts in order to accomplish a specific goal. What you're going to do is you can take those same prompts and put them back into the AI. And you ask the AI once again, can it improve on these prompts? So again, this is not earth-shattering. It's not rocket science. This is what we're doing. We are attempting to make sure that we're getting accurate information. We should always be looking to refine our outputs. So anything that you get from the chatbot, you can make it better by putting it back in the chatbot. That's a principle. So you're not going to have now. Of course, you can't do this endlessly, right? You only have a finite amount of time. However, the more that you can do it, the better the output's going to be. The more that you can put those prompts in there, the better prompts you're going to get. And so one of the things you're going to find is that if you do this kind of work on the front side of getting the information, this will help you to reduce hallucinations from the chatbot. So in other words, a chatbot will just go and make up an answer sometimes, but you can reduce your chances of that happening by making sure that you're critiquing the output, making sure that you're critiquing the right prompts. I do want to talk about minimizing hallucinations. The information that you're getting from a chatbot, you need to make sure that you know that information. And if you know what's coming out from the chat, even if you know the broad subject, you want to be in that area. You don't want to get information from a chatbot that you don't know anything about because you can't spot the mistakes. You can't tell at a glance what's going to be wrong with something that it's saying. And chatbots are not yet perfect at citations. So, I mean, you're going to have to run around that. It will hallucinate citations, so you can't really trust the citation that it gives you. I mean, you can ask for specifics, right? You can ask for niche-based tools, and all of these things are going to help you when you're going to be doing this. In terms of citation, there's a formal tool called Elicit, right? Elicit.org, and then scispace.com. Again, these are for formal research. They will help you when you are writing something formal and you need the AI to be accurate. Now, this is important. And again, it goes back to understanding the information or understanding the broad field where you're trying to get information. So if you're trying to get information in fields you know nothing about, you can't do what we just said here. You need to verify if it's something that looks too good to be true, a fact, a survey, a study, statistics. It just looks too good to be true. It looks like it fits what you're trying to. It fit your parameters exactly the way you want it to. You got to be willing to challenge that. You've got to be willing to say, you know what, that might not be true, even though it came from an AI, even though it came from the machine, even though you assume that it knows more than you do. If you know your area and you see something and it doesn't look right, you've got to try to verify it. Because again, an AI will make things up. It will make things up, and it will make things up to sound as if it is exactly what it was that you were looking at. What you and I have to do is we got to slow the process down. We got to slow the process of getting the output. We got to slow it down to a crawl. And one of the things that you can write into a chatbot is when you do your query, is you can say, or you could write in, let's get this, or let's go step by step. All that does is slow down the chatbot. So it's not trying to give you a lot of information and try to answer it all in one shot. You slow the chatbot down when you say, let's go step by step. And what you're doing then is you are minimizing the chances that you're going to get hallucinations. So all of these things are important. They're principle based, they're common sense. None of this is earth shattering, but you do have to do them when you have the opportunity. I do want to talk about bias, and bias does exist with the chat bot. There's no two ways about it. When you're giving instructions, everything that you do is going to affect the answer. So when you put in spaces, the way you give instructions or the order you give them, however you put the information in, the chatbot interprets that information in a different way, and it can interpret a different way if all you do was you added a period near the end and you changed a few words around. It's going to make a different answer. It affects how the chatbot answers. You and I have to remember we are talking to a machine. And I keep saying this over and over again because it's important. In some cases, if you were to just take the order of the instructions that you gave and you reverse them, or you might type in some in all caps, that's going to change the answer. It's going to change how the chatbot answers. So again, all of these things are going to be biased. Right? So anything that you put into a chatbot, it will be biased based on that input. Now, you might have to make some kind of statement to the chatbot. You might have to say, treat all of these circumstances as equal to the best of your ability. Because again, a chatbot doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have feelings or anything like that. So it's not trying to sort anything out and figure anything out. It's a machine. So we've got to tell the machine exactly what we want. And the machine's not going to take it personally. We want to make sure that we're getting the information that we want without bias if we can get it. You're going to have assumptions inside of the AI about race, gender, and demographics. If you need to make sure that these things are not going to come out in the output, you're going to have to be able to write to the AI to make a statement to the AI, basically so that it treats those things in the right manner, in the right proportion. A related topic to this is calibration. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time about calibration. Kind of is a probably a little more of a softer concept. It's not a proven concept. It doesn't exist in the literature. And I think you'll even find that if you go through the exercises and learn prompting, it'll tell you that calibration is not proven, right? All of it's going to happen within a specific conversation. And basically what you're doing is you're indicating to the AI that a certain level of classifications, that all these things would be treated equal. And I'm just going to kind of give you just a bit of an example, an exaggerated example, because it's a mathematical way to think about things. So you can add to the prompt, you can say red equals positive in some way, blue equals positive. So all you're really doing is calibrating this conversation so that it knows that when you are talking about these two entities, it should be looking at these two entities the exact same. And however you define positive or negative, or however you define bias, you're going to have to tell the AI before you get started and before you start asking for the output. It is very important. Now, again, you probably will go through your use of an AI without calibrating, right? That's fine. But calibration will help you to build out a better answer for the information that you are seeking. And again, red and blue. This is would be where these are context specific choices. I want to close out by talking about Auto GPT. And Auto GPT is basically a way where you're not doing any prompting at all. All you're really doing is prompting a software or a website. You're programming it so that it goes out and finds the prompts. It's a totally different way of looking at prompting, but it is one that is catching steam, and eventually it will be to the point where likely you might have an agent that works for you, that goes out and gets this information, that goes out and figures out what the question should be, and it asks the AI to get the question so it can get the answers. So the Auto GPT, it's kind of on the fringe right now. It's kind of something that people who are just really in the know, they understand what it is, but it is going to become part of this process. Now, I do want to talk about one aspect of Auto GPT, and there's a site as a recording of this called Agent GPT. Right now, it's not the only Auto GPT platform. Right now, it's being beta tested, and so you can go and beta test it if you go to Agent GP at reworked.ai. And if you go to that site, or if you go to your favorite search engine, you'll be able to find Agent GPT and get it to working for you. Now, here's why this is different. This is a way of prompting to an AI where you're starting with the end goal. Remember how we said that what we want to do is we want to give the AI smaller chunks. We want to give it small bits of information. Well, that's not the case with Agent GPT. That's not the case with Auto GPT. We're trying to get to an end goal. And so we've got to go to the end. We've got to go to the AI and we've got to ask it the end goal. This is the exact opposite of what we've been saying. So again, AutoGPT is going to work differently. And it's going to require that you're going to have an open API account. It is going to require that you're going to make a payment to OpenAI. But I will show you that I did quite a bit of use with AutoGPT, and I think that I'm paying 81 cents for the month. So I'm not saying that that's going to be your results. I'm not saying that if you just if you just go overboard with your API, that it's not going to be a bill that you don't like. It could be. What I can tell you is that I put the stress test on this, and I'm not really paying a lot in terms of what I'm going to be owing at the end of this billing cycle with Agent GPT. Now, Agent GPT is kind of an interesting interface. What you're looking at is you're a place where you can put in basically what is the name and the goal. And when you do this, you're going to need your API key again from OpenAI. So you're going to have to go and get an OpenAI key. You're going to place it inside the settings, and that's going to be first. And they do have a sign up process that you'll have to sign in for. But once you do that, well, what are you doing with Agent GPT? Well, what you're doing is you're writing a goal. You are outlining something that you know that the AI, you want the AI to give you. Now, once again, what are we doing? We're asking the AI to give us something that's a goal. We want it to give us something that is the end process. And so, yes, we're going to write something like the goal of this is, and we're going to give the end process that we want Agent GPT to do, because Agent GPT is then going to do the prompting itself. And so you'll see it here. Agent GPT is actually going to do the prompting. It will go and get the right prompts. It'll figure out what it is that it needs in order to get the answer that we are seeking. And so it's a continual process. And if you look at some of the tasks that it's adding, you'll see that basically Agent GPT, not only is it giving you responses, but it is also giving you the questions to ask. Okay, are there any questions? Any questions? Let's see, looks like I have a few questions here. Okay, yeah, no, Craig, yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, Future Tools, yeah, I'm very familiar with that one. And yeah, and Agent GPT is probably at least the best that I've seen in terms of auto GPT. So yeah, yeah, very very cool site. Future Tools. I think that's Matt Wolf. I think that's that Matt Wolf that does that. Has the YouTube channel. Any other questions? I don't think you have to you don't have to install it. You can leave it in your browser, Craig, unless you just want to have it. For Agent GPT runs in the browser, so you shouldn't have to install unless you just want to install it. I know you're kind of an auto GPT. I know you yeah, auto GPT, right? Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, right, yeah. You're kind of a tech guy, so you might like fooling around with that stuff. Okay, any other questions? Yep, looking forward to it, Craig. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out with me here. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I do just kind of want to remind you that if you're on this call, you've picked up um, you picked up prompt engineering. Um, you may or may not have seen in the upgrade that there is a place where you can get Chat GPT along with it, and you know we do have some. I'm not gonna bother with the partner PLR right now. So let's just end it all here. Appreciate y'all being out to be with us on this evening. You could have done anything else, but you chose to spend your Monday night with us, and we appreciate it. So with that, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.